Hi, Gemini. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for October 2019. For you this month, the emphasis begins on play and then shifts to work. And Julia has some thoughts about Mercury's activity, which is going to be important for you, Gemini, because Mercury is your ruling planet. And
Uh,
um, and so let's see how this is going to affect you.
all right, Gemini. So, talking about Mercury, that's the planet of communication. That's the planet of thought. It's going to be entering your sixth house on October 2nd. So, the sixth house, it's the house of your job, it's the house of your health. Any type of routines as well is sixth house territory. And Mercury really loves to be in the sixth house. I mean, modern astrologers see this as the house of Virgo, which is where Mercury has rulership. So you really might have your mind on your work this month. Like if you have your own business, you might be thinking of trying to learn new things in order to improve it, or any type of learning that you might have to do, which might help support your work in any way, would be a really great time for it. And it's also a very, very good time for getting organized too, because that's a very sixth house feel as well because of that Virgo rulership. So if you need to sit and think about how you need to organize your documents, organize your home, organize your health too in any way, really, really good month for that. Then you've got Mars entering your fifth house on October 3rd. Mars is the planet of activity and passion, and it's where you sort of apply yourself. So the fifth house is a super, super fun house. It's also the house of self-expression. So you might be putting a little bit more drama into how you kind of put yourself forward to others, a little bit more expressive. And you also might want to find more ways to go out and have some fun too, because the sixth house can rule things like performance, sports, and games. That might mean that you want to go out to the theater, you want to go watch a baseball game, you might want to go play poker or do some bowling. And if you play sports in your life, because Mars is such a competitive planet, you might be a little extra competitive this month too. Then the last planet I want to talk about is Venus, everyone's favorite because she's the planet of relationships and pleasure and beauty and love. And she's entering your sixth house. Again, that's the house of work, that's the house of health on October 8th. So that's a really, really nice time to kind of get along well with your coworkers. Also, Venus in the sixth house might be a time where you're a little bit more inclined to kind of check out, romantically, people that you either meet through work or at the workhouse. So watch out for any kind of office romance, which might also be kind of catching your eye this month too. And Jamie, what do you have to say for this month in terms of moons and other stuff going on?
I'm having a little giggle at you talking about at the workhouse because it's reminding me of like Oliver Twist.
Oh my God!
That's so cute. I wanted to say that there's just a few days this month when both Mars and Venus are in the fifth house together, and it's also the house of love affairs. So sexy time
Good point.
from about the 5th to the 8th or so. So we have a couple of lunations on the 13th. There is a full moon in Aries, and let's just move that moon around the wheel. Here it is. Full moon in Aries in your 11th house, opposed a sun in Libra in your 5th house. And this is as, Venus and Mercury have already made their exodus out of the 5th house into the 6th. And that full moon is going to bring a lot of emotion, like a surge of emotion and connection, and even really comfort and nurturance into the arena of friends and groups and your tribe. So that's a great place to give and receive some care this month. There's kind of
Get
a
your
sweetness
girlies
to that.
together.
Yeah. Get your besties together, do something as a group, hang with the homies, that sort of thing. Then as the month goes on, of course, the sun is moving into Scorpio on the 23rd, and that moves it into your 6th house. As Julia was saying, the house of work, health, and service, bringing lots of emphasis to that arena. So getting organized, putting a spotlight on those themes. And then a little later on the 27th, we have got a new moon in Scorpio in that 6th house. So it really concentrates the energy there. And so, you know what I like to say for Scorpio, if you want to make good use of Scorpio energy, especially for you, Gemini, because there's this tendency to get distracted, right? You're a mutable sign. The tendency to send and disperse your energy in many directions, to get involved in a lot of little projects and not finish them before starting new ones until you feel completely overwhelmed and scattered and, oh my God, tearing your hair out, right? So this 6th house energy for you this month is a great time to cultivate positive obsession. So really getting organized and really, putting stuff away, putting stuff to bed, cutting off those loose ends, and clearing the decks so that you can begin new projects and feel refreshed. So I really like that for you this month. And then as the month at that point, Mercury's already entered its shadow period, which began really around the 20th. And that's the time when Mercury is slowing down, getting ready to move retrograde. We've got a video all about the shadow period and the Mercury retrograde cycle that's coming. And it's going to be happening mostly in November, but we've already made the video. So it's in the October news playlist. You might want to go and check that out, especially because you as a Gemini or a Gemini rising, Mercury is your ruling planet. It's important to know what Mercury is up to.
Yeah, it can be an extra frustrating time, I think, for Mercury ruled rising times during Mercury retrograde. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
There's an exception to that, though. I think most people experience a lot of frustration during Mercury retrograde because the world is being forced to slow down, and we all have this bias towards forward movement. We want things to just proceed forward in an orderly way all the time, but nature dictates it's not like that. Mercury has to slow down and turn retrograde about every 4 months for a period of about 3 weeks. And the people who are less frustrated by that are the ones who already have Mercury retrograde in their natal chart to begin with.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be a Gemini with Mercury retrograde in your natal chart, then, not to get into using too many expletives, but I would say you're happy as a pig in shit when Mercury is retrograde. It could be just fine for you and just a mess for everybody else. So there you are in the eye of the storm.
You'll be staying afloat while everybody else is like, having some issues.
But that's if you have Mercury retrograde in your natal chart.
True.
And that's something you can always find out in a reading with a qualified astrologer like us. So that Mercury retrograde begins on October 31st, and that takes us into November. So that's what we have for you today, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out our horoscopes at pandoraastrology.com/horoscope and in our YouTube playlists at Pandora Astrology there on YouTube. And we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye, Gemini.